I'm Charles Sturgis.
And I'm Will Plows, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Drive-By podcast.
Episode number 1, welcome.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? We're sort of diving into the last 15 years of cars. As we know them before, everything goes electric. So I don't think there's a more exciting time to be in the world of cars now.
No, I completely agree with you.
Everything is moving so quickly, new legislation, all this sort of stuff. And people having to abide by that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a very interesting time.
So it's a good time to kind of join us on this journey.
Absolutely. Follow us on Drive By Podcast on Instagram and myself at Charlie Drives on Instagram as well.
As we kind of get more into this sphere online and learning how it all works.
Absolutely. I think we should just jump straight into how we know each other.
I guess we've kind of went to school together, known each other for what is it now?
11 years or so.
11 years, bloody hell.
So I think...
so we know each other.
We know each other well. We're both big car people, so this was the natural thing to do.
Exactly.
Let's jump in and give our half-baked opinions on things.
Exactly.
And I think we should probably introduce ourselves.
Good idea.
A fact sheet, a little précis of us.
Yeah.
A little bit about us, really. So what should we talk about first?
Well, you take it away. A bit about you.
I work in the world of cars myself, cars and sales.
Interesting.
I know. I've grown up around cars for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Very, very long time indeed. So I've had all sorts of sort of past cars and sort of driving history, luckily given to me through the life that I'm in. So my car history has been quite varied. First car, Volvo C3.
C30.
C30. C3. What am
I remember you driving that car.
I do. That's a good looking car, that car.
Yeah.
And I had the Drive E version, which I can't remember how many.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the lowest powered one that you could get.
I'm not surprised your parents gave you
fabric seats, manual, with, by the end of it, it had a coffee stain on the passenger seat. So if I ever find that car again, I'll be able to identify it. And so I'll be able to find it easily from the coffee stain that I had on my passenger seat. Then next after that was Freelander. I had a Land Rover Freelander, which I liked very much.
Yeah.
In Loire Blue. It was really nice. I love it. I've still got it, actually. Still got that car.
Yeah. I think you're the only person at school to actually have a 4x4.
I loved that car. It was great. It had done... How many miles had it done? I think it had done about 65,000 miles when I had it. And then after that, I had a Land Rover Defender Autobiography, a car that I love. And
you had an emotional attachment to that car.
You wouldn't believe. That car was sold in 2018, and I do miss it a lot. I think it lives in Surrey now. One day I'll have to find that back. Yeah, funny that, isn't it? Lives in Land Rover Defender, lives in Surrey. And then I had that was my work car. I had a Volvo V40 R-Design D2.
Cool, you really have lived it, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. It was a Bogo sports model, no sat nav or anything like that, which I thought getting a company car would be quite exciting, but wasn't all that well kitted out. And then I got rid of that, and then I had a Fiat 500 Riva as well at the time.
I used to love going out in the summer.
Oh, it was great. You put the roof down. I was called quite a few homophobic remarks by that, particularly by people who once, when a van had to come past me, shouted something slightly homophobic out with my convertible roof, cream leather, hair blowing in the wind, beautiful car, loved that. And that went as well.
Yeah.
That's very sad. I miss that car as well. And I think that lives in Jersey now.
Is it really?
That lives in Jersey.
Did they buy the number plate as well off you or not?
No, I've still got the number plate. I've still got the private plate on that. Specific to that car as well, so it can't really go on anything else. What about you've got your car?
Yeah, well, it's kind of less extensive than yours. I still drive my first car, which was a 1.4 Fiesta Titanium, 2009. It is, and because I was 17 at the time and a bit of a yobbo at school, not really, but I put black wheels on them.
Yes, you did. It's
and
got
all
black
blacked
wheels on,
out, so it's a completely blacked out Fiesta.
It does look quite cool, that car.
It does when it's clean.
Yeah, when it's clean. It looks crap when it's grubby.
But because I work in the corporate world, the exciting life.
You don't really need a car, do you?
I don't really use a car because I do so much travelling around.
Mainly on the train.
Mainly on the train.
Hitchhiking.
Literally. I never really needed a car, so I've always just stuck with my first one. It's never ever let me down. Never let me down.
Apart from you took the wing mirror off.
And I crashed in. And another story as well, crashing. My first and only ever crash, touch wood, is Then I was in the Tesco's car park.
Oh yes, you bumped into something.
I bumped into a car that was getting scrapped the next day.
Oh, that's a bit of luck.
So that was a bit of luck.
That is a bit of luck. It's a shame it didn't hit anything too expensive.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to look there. My V40, I remember I was going the wrong direction, quite cross one day, and I aggressively pulled what I thought would be a great handbrake turn.
Is this your first crash?
Well, my first little incident that I had.
Yeah.
And I pulled this handbrake turn and didn't yank the wheel hard enough. I was going a bit too quick as well on this country lane. And I just felt the car lazily loping towards the other side, rather out of control, brakes fully on, and it just dropped the front left-hand wheel into the...
I remember this, yeah.
Into the ditch. So after a little bit of extensive tugging, I eventually got it out.
Pardon?
Extensive tugging. And I actually had a couple of cyclists come past and sort of said, how the fuck did you manage to get that the wrong way round with a wheel in the ditch? So I was like, I don't really know, really. Yeah. I knew full well why I did that. Yeah, so that was probably my only little incident there. Again, touch wood there. So I've had quite an extensive car. What's your favourite car you've ever driven?
That's a good question. Favourite car I've ever driven? I don't know, I've driven kind of all sorts, really, from kind of Defenders, pickup trucks, Ferraris, Astons, Jaguars. But I think the one that really stands out as my favourite I've ever driven was the Mark 1 Ford Escort RS 1600.
Oh yes, I remember when you did that.
I don't just like that, I love that car. Absolutely. It's the most memorable car I've ever driven. I liked it because you were just in it. You were actually just...
Well, I imagine you were in it.
I was in it, yeah. But you were
remote control.
It was probably the hardest car I've ever had to control. Third gear, you actually had the arms of Thor. You actually couldn't get it into third gear, and kind of the exhaust broke and started.
Or is it because you're not that good at driving?
Maybe because I missed the apex in every single corner.
Oh right, that's all right then.
But yeah, that was the best car I ever driven. Ford Escort Mark 1 RS 1600. What about you?
I adored that Reaver. I adored my Fiat 500. Actually, yeah. My little teenage girl's car, but I did like that. The Range Rover Classic.
Oh yeah, I see you going around a lot more in that recently.
Yeah, I have. I've been driving that a bit more just because it hasn't been driven for a while and it needed going. It's going in for some new carburetors tomorrow.
Is it?
It is, yeah, because it's running Ritter mode. Can't seem to get it right, so it's going to have some more modern carburetors put on it.
Yeah.
Defender again, I loved that. I just loved how difficult it was, how crap it was.
You were crap at parking it.
How crap at parking I was in it. It was a very difficult thing to do, but I loved it. I think probably overall, best car, XJR.
Really?
XJR. It was beautiful. I just loved it. It's British Racing Green Jaguar XJR. I drove about for a little while, and that was really nice. It's so tail happy. It was really tail happy.
Was it?
Granted, I was in dynamic mode with everything turned off, but other than that, it was very. So I'd probably go with XJR being one of my favourites. Absolutely.
And what was kind of the car you really want to own?
What, the most desirable car?
Your most desirable car?
Oh, that's very difficult.
I made you go first so I can have a bit more thinking.
Oh, okay, is that what it is? One car that I really, really do want, and it's probably very, very unachievable for most people, is that Alfa Romeo Disco Volante thing, the thing that was based off the 8C. And I'm not sure how that works because it's coach built, but I think you have to supply the car. So you have to supply the donor car, I believe, which is...
is it an 8C?
The 8C. So you have
That is a beautiful
car.
car.
Absolutely. But they make it in bed. So you have to supply the car and then they charge a fee to do it.
Yeah.
So you must be... I mean, what are 8Cs worth now?
200k?
Oh, I think it's more than that. I think it's a lot of money. Plus... I think when it was came out, it was £800,000.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what percentage of that is them building it and what percentage is the purchase of the car. But that's going to be very, very expensive.
But it's all irrelevant because it is just
beautiful,
stunning
absolutely stunning. And have it in green as well.
Yeah.
Has to be in green. Go on then. You've had long enough to think. What's yours?
Mine makes me sound like a really big broken record because it is kind of the old, young lads, what do you want to own? And it would be the first model of the DB9.
Oh, he wants to be James Bond.
With the original wheels.
Right, okay.
Well, we and James Bond look very similar, so it's very...
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's it, yeah. You sort of look like Daniel Craig's illegitimate cousin.
Yeah, or chubby love child.
Chubby love child.
Yeah, and then so away from that, so you'd like a.
I'd have a Disco Volante,
and I'd have.
And you're having the what year DB9?
2004.
Really?
2004, 2005 DB9, first ever.
One of the first iterations.
Yeah, with the original wheels. Has to be the original wheels as well.
Those. Like, there were quite a few spokes on that, am I right?
Yeah, quite
thick.
Like
10 spokes,
thick
spokes. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'd have.
Fair enough. I'll go with that.
And then upcoming car. What
favourite
car are you most excited about?
Favourite car that I'm most excited about driving. New Jaguar XJ. That's my pick.
Really?
Really looking forward to it. I want to drive the electric XJ. That is going to be an interesting car, and they're saying it's going to be a rival for Tesla, of all sorts, all models.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really looking forward to getting my hands on that.
I mean, Jaguar
that arrives.
Knock it out the park with the I-Pace, didn't they?
Oh, the I-Pace is a brilliant car.
That is
if it's
car.
Good as an electric car, very good. But if you're going to manage to do that with the XJ, then it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
Awesome car. So that's definitely what I'm looking for. Another car that I'd actually quite like to try is that probably quite unrealistic, but that Ferrari SF90.
Oh, the SF90, yeah. That Charles Leclerc's been thrashing around Monaco in their Rendezvous remake.
Tribute video, directed by Claude Lelouch.
Was it?
The original chap who did Rendezvous, they got him. So yeah, I think we should probably when we eventually see it, cover that in another episode.
Definitely. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Oh God, absolutely! It's
really
going to be awesome. What about you?
So I do love that new Ferrari.
Yeah, I do like that.
I do love it, but I think the car that's really excited me the most is the new Defender.
Okay, yeah.
I know that you've seen it, and I know that you think it's lovely.
I hopefully will be driving it pretty soon.
And that's what I'm most excited. I love the old one, and I'm really looking forward to the new one coming out.
People are taking receipt of their cars at the moment.
Are they really?
Yeah. But so there is.
A bit out of my price bracket.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So new Defender for you. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and new XJ for you.
And new XJ for me. Okay, right. We'll probably be covering a bit of F1 in this podcast. So let's get your opinion on that. Favourite track?
I think we're both the same, aren't we? Spa.
Yes, you're right. A bastard, you've had a Spa. I wanted Spa. What's your second favourite?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. I'm going to have to go Monaco.
You go with Monaco?
Your favourite place of all places?
Oh, I bloody hate Monaco. I am not a fan of Monaco myself.
I love Monaco just because of its tradition.
The history, everything. But as a race, love it. As a place.
It's a driver's track.
Absolutely.
I think it's brilliant.
Fair enough.
Spa is my favourite.
Oh, what would be mine?
One of the few things we actually agree on.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Gilles Villeneuve.
What Canada?
Villeneuve. Canada.
Yeah,
that's probably my favourite. Nice early one in the season.
Yeah.
Silverstone's up there, but not that far up there.
Be my third.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be my third.
Another thing we agree on.
Absolutely,
we are establishing a lot more than we know about each other.
Absolutely, yeah.
11 years of knowing each other.
So what we're going to...
current driver.
Current F1 drivers. Who's
my favourite? It was hard between Albon and...
Verstappen?
No? Sainz.
Carlos Sainz? Okay.
I think Carlos Sainz is my favourite driver.
Well done, that man.
Well done, that man.
Landed himself a Ferrari drive. Very, very impressive.
I just think he comes across so well on the
camera. He seems like a nice
track. He's blisteringly quick. Kind of the best of the bad bunch, isn't it, really? In the times of cars, coming sixth in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, considering the position.
But all around, just because, he kind of sounds like such a brilliant bloke, I'd say Carlos Sainz Jr. is my favourite current driver.
I'm big on Charles Leclerc.
You are, aren't you? Yeah.
I like the history behind him, his involvement, his being the the nephew of Jules Bianchi. Godson, that's the one. Yeah, Godson.
Yeah.
And I think he comes across as a very nice chap, and he's got a hell of a career ahead of him.
He really has.
Hell of a career. Being he's technically Ferrari #1 driver now, isn't he? And he's 21.
Yeah, he's our age.
Yeah, 22. Unbelievable. So well done, that man. Favourite past driver of yours?
This was when he said that we're going to be doing this, it's a really difficult one.
It was a difficult one to think of.
Because obviously there's Senna, who was just out of this world. Yeah. There was Jim Clark, who again was the highest accolade by other drivers. Yeah. But the one that really kind of makes me kind of smile, makes me kind of what I really, really like, and was really sad that I wasn't alive at the same time as, is James Hunt.
Yeah, no, James.
Just because I think he's the coolest chap.
Oh, he's a British icon, absolutely. Of the sport, British icon. Yeah.
Absolutely. Such a shame that he
passed away.
Yeah, how about yourself?
I'm going. You mentioned him there. I'm going with Senna.
Are you?
I'm going with Senna. Yeah, it's.
Good choice.
I think the bit that probably clinches it for me was that interview. I don't know whether you remember that, but I think it was Jackie Stewart that he was talking about an incident with his teammate, and he said when he goes, "If you don't take a gap." I'm probably butchering it now, but if you don't take a gap, you're no longer a racing driver, and I think that is absolutely 100% true. So Senna is probably my favourite. He's the favourite. He's the driver's driver, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Excellent. So yes, I think that's probably covers about us. If you have any other questions about us or anything like that,
which I probably won't do.
Probably not. Who gives it? Who gives a toss? So yeah. Drop us a line on the Drive By podcast, drop us a DM or anything like that, and we'll be sure to answer that. And if there's anything you want us to mention in an upcoming episode, then do drop us a line. Absolutely, make sure you do that.
And I hear you've been driving the new Jaguar.
I have. I've been driving the new F-Type. I'm very happy with it. I quite like it. I prefer the styling of the old one myself, but I understand where they're going with it.
Kind of more in line with the range, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. It looks more like sort of the XE. And that sort of part of it. I found the suspension softer. It's almost more like a GT car. I liked that. The styling, the suspension broke a little bit.
Oh yeah, so I wasn't going to mention this, but now you've mentioned it really.
I've gone and done it now.
You've gone and put yourself in it. Tell the listeners what happened the first time you actually took it for a spin.
I took it down a little country lane and the suspension had a hissy fit, lost power steering, spoiler, all-wheel drive went on it as well. I do find the all-wheel drive makes it a lot less tail happy, but still a little bit twitchy.
Was it?
Yeah, I was driving the P450, so the V6 is gone altogether, and they've replaced it with a V8. So you're thinking, okay, not as loud as the V6 I found.
No,
not as loud, but I quite liked it.
Yeah,
I quite like it, but I do miss the V6. I think that would probably be quite a loss from the range. But they will be eventually moving to a BMW V8.
Are they?
As they're discontinuing the Ford V8 that they were using beforehand.
I didn't know that.
There you go. So that's why it's moved to more of a V8. But so the engine specs now go from the 2-litre engine producing approximately 300 horsepower.
A 2-litre V8?
No, 2-litre 4-cylinder engine.
Oh right, sorry.
Yeah. And then they go to the V8 for the middle of the range, and then V8 for the top of the range with 575 horsepower, which is the same amount of horsepower that the old SVR had for the previous model.
So is there any talk then?
Not that I've heard of. I haven't heard of any talk of a new SVR coming yet.
And what will that be like then?
That's going to be mad. Because they've got if the standard car, relatively standard car is 575 horsepower, what's that going to be? 600? Maybe they'll squeeze more out of it. I don't know what that BMW V8 is actually capable of. I really enjoyed the drive. I found it smoother. They're going for a more grown-up car.
Yeah,
I think
I'd go with that.
A little less shouty, a little more manageable.
It looks more sleek.
Absolutely, I think it does. But it's not as cute. It's got an angry face on it now. But I liked it. No, I liked it. Staying with JLR, new Defender.
Yeah.
New Defender. Bad news for anyone in West London.
Oh no.
I know. The Defender 90 production has gone back by 6 months. That's quite.
Is that because of all this COVID-19?
I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gone back by 6 months now. We've got a few 110s coming through the system now. I like the car. I love the Defender. There's a lot of torque.
I think it looks brilliant.
I think it looks great.
It kind of split opinions at the start, didn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it was always going to. Always going to. But I think they've cracked it. I think they've done a brilliant job on how it looks. I think you're right.
When I saw the concept car, the DC100 concept,
awful.
I really didn't like that. I thought it looked like a jacked up Skoda Yeti myself. So I wasn't a fan of that, but I'm really looking forward to driving it when I eventually get into it. One car I'm interested in, apart from all the other cars I'm interested in, is the Ineos Grenadier.
Well, this is Mr. Ratcliffe, isn't it?
Is he the richest man in the UK? I think he's the richest man in the UK, something like that. Jim Ratcliffe, best ideas ever come out of the pub. This was a pub idea to basically create a spiritual successor to the Defender, calling it the Grenadier, as he thought of it in the Grenadier pub in London, which I think is great, absolutely great. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And interesting what they're doing with that is they've basically taken all the best 4x4s currently, so sort of the Jeep Wrangler, the old iterations of the Defender, various ones of them, and what's the other one? Land Cruiser, and reverse engineered them. So go back, take it all apart. What works really well on this?
So what's kind of the best component of each car, and then putting it into
absolutely, yep, to sort of funnel it all in to create a really, really awesome.
Well, I remember you showed me a picture earlier today, and it looked.
Well, that was an Autocar developed image. So whether it will look like that, Autocar normally have a pretty good idea of what it will look like, but I think it does. It will look frighteningly like a Defender in one form or another.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, absolutely no. It's good. Essentially going to be sort of a 4x4 greatest hits album. That's what it's going to be. All the best songs.
All into one.
All into one.
A 4x4 ballad.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Power ballad from Ineos. Yeah, so what else is there? Sort of car news.
I guess we've got the new 4 Series.
Got the new 4 Series, yeah. I'm looking at it now on a little press sheet here. 2020 BMW 4 Series. Let's talk about the grille.
It looks lovely, doesn't it?
The kidney-shaped elephant in the room.
It's just not. It's not great. What they've had to do, I don't know if no one can see this, but they've actually had to put on this picture here a very good-looking lady on the bonnet of the car.
Maybe to sort of distract away from that grille that looks like the teeth of Steve Buscemi, really. They are some big gnashers on the front of that. Big old mouth.
Not a good-looking car.
I don't think it is. The back of it looks pretty good. Front of it, I'm not sure. But this all comes down to why is it so big?
Well, it's like similar now with the 7 Series they've just brought out.
Yep, absolutely.
Hateful-looking grille.
Yep, and the what's the other one? The X5. That's got a huge grille on it now.
X6 as well. The new
X6. That's got a big grille on it as well. And it's all to do with China, really. It's sort of taking what people know about the brand. And turning it up to 11 because the Chinese love a good shouty sort of thing. Exaggeration, yeah. So it's all to do with China.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, really.
It is a shame. It's like that story you told me about them on the Jaguar, the back of the Jaguar XJ.
Yes, yeah. They thought when they looked at it, they thought that Puma made it.
Such a shame.
The less said about that, the better. To be perfectly honest. But yeah, so we're going to see them on the road soon.
Yeah.
But to be fair, think about it. BMW tend to ride close to your bumper, so you're not going to see the grille in your rear view mirror.
No, very good point.
Because it'll be close enough to you.
So actually what you should be doing then, when they've launched this, go into the outside lane and go at 70, because then you won't have to see it.
Exactly.
Because it'll be up your chuff.
It'll be right up behind you, and you won't see the grille. Fantastic. But then again, who's going to be using it? What's the target audience? I imagine the police will get some. The police will
probably get some. So what this is actually going to cause is a huge amount of casualties. Not only is it going to be kind of keeping Road Wars, a TV show, in business.
Very true.
But you see that you've been in a car chase, and you see the new 4 Series coming behind you. What are you going to do?
Go quicker.
Go much quicker. Road casualties are going to go through the roof.
Maybe not road casualties, but definitely high-speed police chases. People put their foot down to get away from having to look at the grille.
Yeah.
That's probably not a very good idea. Or the fact that you're actually going to see it coming up behind you, and you're going to vomit over your own windscreen.
And then the police are actually...
You're not going to be able to see, so you'll have to stop.
So actually, maybe we are not giving them the credit they deserve.
Maybe that is actually quite a good idea. Actually, I completely changed my reaction there. No, it's a brilliant idea. Well done, BMW. Very new, interesting thing. To help the police, really, I imagine. Yeah, brilliant idea. Very well done that.
Ties in with the kind of whole electrical thing as well.
So are they going to make an electric version of it?
Well, I'm just reading it here, and they are making this kind of 430e plug-in hybrid 2-litre jobby.
So there's no talk of a fully electric car yet? Though?
Not that I am aware of, no. Right, they'll be doing the kind of standard models, 420, 430i, etc.
Because, of course, electric cars are going to come a little more... They're doing an Alfa Romeo one now.
Well, they're doing... The Tonale next year.
The Tonale? What does Tonale mean?
Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I did do a little Google today. And
is it just an Italian word that they've stuck onto it? Or?
I think it could be. It translates in Latin to the Book of Musical Rules.
In Latin?
Well, what does that mean? Why?
The Book of Musical Rules.
But don't know why they say musical, because it's going to be electric, so it'll have no soundtrack.
That's very true. Maybe they'll have a very good sound system or something like that.
Exactly. But Alfa Romeo being the kind of the brand that we adore.
Oh, we love Alfa. Everyone loves Alfa.
And it looks brilliant. It looks lovely.
It does look good.
They'll be discontinuing, the Giulietta hatchback at the end of this year, and so the
Giulietta is going.
Yeah, so then they're solely focusing on the Giulia and the Stelvio.
Oh, right, okay.
And then in 2021 introducing the Tonale. And then in 2022, I've got it here, they haven't got a name for it yet. They'll be introducing a smaller SUV, fully electric, to kind of bulk up their 4-car range to kind of drive kind of sales numbers.
Yeah.
But then it's interesting that we say that as well, because you know how good the Italians are at kind of getting accurate numbers. Kind of.
Are the Italians going to be doing the electrics on there?
Yes, they are.
Oh my lord. Okay.
So it's going to be fully alpha.
It'll be brilliant. I'm sure it'll work perfectly. Be marvellous.
The main thing I love from this article is the global kind of goal of how many they want to sell.
Oh, the desired sales figures.
Yeah. So how many do you think they want to sell?
I have no idea.
400,000.
400,000.
So bearing that 400,000 in mind, how many do you think they actually sold last year in Europe?
I've no idea.
54,000.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, bless their little Italian hearts. Oh, 54,000.
You want to go to their kind of...
What's that? 54,365.
Which is actually less than the year before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my lord. It's a nice idea. Is there someone who's designed that car? I think we need to go and give them a hug. Let's get to 100,000 first, guys.
Let's not run before we can walk.
Exactly, absolutely. Oh, bless their little Italian hearts. It's a good-looking car, and I do hope that succeeds.
So do I, and the Tonale doesn't look too bad either. So I think they are kind of, maybe their strategy is going towards that whole range. And
I like a sporty, interesting story from yesterday. I was in the Jaguar F-Pace SVR, big shed thing that was. So I went to take some photos from my Instagram with that and the classic Range Rover, the 1982 two-door. Do some photos with that because I had them. I found a nice open field, sort of lovely parkland, rolling fields, no hedges either side of me, so it just rode straight onto there, parked up, put them like nose to nose, and a truck drove past with 2 people in it, like a farm truck. And then I parked it up, so we were sort of blocking the road, but it was a very empty road. And then I was parking it up, and I went, that looks like a police van behind me. It's like a police pickup truck. And it was.
Was
so
it?
the police came up behind me, so I jump out the car, and the two lady police officers got out of it.
You haven't told me this one before.
Oh no! And so it literally happened last night. And I say, "Is everything all right?" And she says, "Yes. What are you up to?" I said, "I'm just taking some photographs of these cars for the Instagram."
Yeah.
For Instagram. She's like, "Oh right, okay. We had reports of two people up here. We thought you might be hair coursing." Yeah, no, genuinely, they said we thought you might be hair coursing, and it must have been the 2 people that drove by earlier had reported me thinking it was hair coursing, so they obviously saw the old defender, and the girl who got out was obviously some sort of car fan, because she got out and said, yeah, we had reports of a Range Rover, but not a classic Range Rover like that. So I was like, oh, okay, fantastic. In hindsight, I should have got them to be in the photos.
That would have been brilliant.
It would have been brilliant, but I was sort of having to tie myself up a bit because I was a little bit scared. It'd been quite funny though if I've been talking to them and someone had been walking a whippet behind me or something like that.
That'd been full on rotten.
Oh god. Yeah, so there we go. So I thought that was pretty funny. So then I sort of tucked my tail between my legs and went home. After that, so there was a bit of interesting. But I like it, like I say, in a roundabout way. I love the new Jaguar F-Pace SVR that's been out for a little while now. Lovely, lovely car, and I like a sporty crossover.
It sounds.
So brilliant. I wish Alpha the best of luck in a roundabout way with this Tonale thing. So what else? What other motoring news have we got?
Actually, I've got some good news. If you're a Slovakian school child,
right,
bear with me. So you know Torsus, this big off-road.
They do off-road
overland
camper van type
that sort
things.
of thing. You're on the right track. Well, actually, they've just introduced a bus. And the picture here we've got, it looks like a school bus.
Oh my god, look at that!
It's kind of modelled off the kind of big 6-wheeler Mercedes G-Wagon.
That does look like a G-Wagon that's mounted the back of a bus, doesn't it? That's the bastard child.
But it's going to be the Torsus bus. So it's going to be kind of this big overland, kind of go to the hard places, kind of... I imagine it's going to be kind of used in the Himalayas in case, say, Sherpas...
It's a 35-seater?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see this on the M4.
That's going to be the new National Express trucks. It's
going to be the kind
buses.
Of as you crow flies express. Because
as the crow flies express. You won't need to use the A1. You just go over farmland. That's brilliant. I love that. That's fantastic. So that does look almost like a JCB.
Imagine that taking you on your year 9 geography trip.
Oh, absolutely. That would be awesome. Yeah. You can't get anywhere.
Yeah, but as coming on to that point you made there about JCB, this picture here we have here is black and white, but I know it's in yellow it does actually look like a bit of a JCB.
If you whack JCB on the side of it, you wouldn't really know the difference, would you? That looks fantastic. It's got Torses written down the side of it in really big
cool,
writing.
Isn't it?
That does look
really
quite
cool.
good. So,
but it is kind of
how much is it going to cost?
€155,000.
So what's that? £140,000.
£145,000.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
Which actually, that's a lot of car for your money.
Yeah.
A lot of bus for your money.
A lot of bus for your money. So, what's it called?
Well, it's gonna be called the Torsus Praetorian. I think
oh right, okay.
Yeah, the Torsus Praetorian. But then there's also going to be kind of different various military builds off the back of this. And do you want to know what they're called?
No, go ahead.
The Assault and the Offensive. So I imagine the Assault's going to have a big 50 cal on the back of it.
What? And you're saying the offensives are going to have written down the side of it?
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Actually, yeah. No, we'll render that and whack that up on the Instagram there.
That'd be brilliant.
Yes,
and it's going to come with
brilliant. I love it.
And it's going to come with digital camo on the sides, so all over, so you won't actually be able to see it coming.
What is that like? Digital camo, like the little squares, like urban camo sort of thing, or are you not? Is it like going to be like the what was it? Die Another Day.
The Vanquish.
The Vanquish that you get that was invisible.
Yeah.
Oh right. Okay. Oh, so you're not going to be able to see this thing coming either. You'll just see a sign on the side that says.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love that. That's fantastic. That's very good news.
If you're ever skiing and get a pole in the wrong place,
absolutely,
that's going to pick
fall
you
off
up
on a mountain. That's going to pick you up. Do a nice round trip. They'll be able, with 35 seats. Pick up loads of accidents with that. Awesome. I love it.
I want one.
I want one too. That is excellent.
Like one. And kind of to end off now.
Yep.
The news section of this podcast.
Yeah. What have you got?
I've got some news around F1. I'm sure people would have seen this by now. But it's good news following COVID-19 if you are a motorsport fan. And that's the first 8 races of the 2020 calendar now.
8 races? Fantastic.
Are going to be, got the go-ahead.
So Silverstone's going ahead?
That's going to be the 4th one. So they've got kind of back-to-back.
Oh, so they're doing 2 races sort of...
Yes, they're doing 2 races at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Then they're going to go to Hungary for a race.
Right.
And then kind of 2 weeks later they'll be doing 2 Grand Prix at Silverstone.
Oh, fantastic.
And then so forth until the end of August, early September.
I think that's something we should explore. I think we should have another podcast, another couple of episodes of the podcast with us commenting on the race.
Yeah.
I think that might be quite a good idea. A bit of fun there.
It will just be us as well talking about the liveries of each of the cars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're just sort of discussing that. Lovely, great news. I'm really pleased about that. Fantastic. So we'll get the season up and running again. And what's that taking us up to September or so?
September the 4th to the 6th.
Lovely.
So September the 6th. So that's good news coming from COVID.
That's very good news. Lovely. I think that brings us to the end of the news and we can move on. And now we enter a section of the podcast, a new section. I say new, it's all new. But it's sort of our version of Snog, Marry, Avoid. Yeah. But for cars. So we're going with Drive, Buy, Destroy. Drive one car, buy one car to live with, and destroy one.
Fully destroy it.
Fully destroy it. Blow it up. It's got to be blown up. So whether you do that reluctantly or not, that's on you.
Oh,
but yeah, let's jump straight in with the first genre of car. If you will.
You've selected this one, haven't you?
I have indeed. So the holy trinity of hypercars.
So this is the P1, LaFerrari, and the 918.
Yeah. So, what do we reckon?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first if you want.
Crikey, that is a tough one you've chosen.
It is a very tough one. I thought I'd sort of challenge you here a bit to see what you want to do with this one. Tell you what, I'll go first.
It's taking so long.
Yeah, no, you're taking too long, so I'll go first. I'm going with driving the P1, buying the 918, and rather reluctantly destroying the LaFerrari.
What?
So let me talk you through it. Let me talk you through it before you balk at me. P1.
No.
Is that's not the most expensive. That's the middle of the road, isn't it? That's sort of the middle price. Because what's the LaFerrari is £1 million. New, and the 918. What are they going for now, LaFerrari?
Well, the last LaFerrari I saw was over £2 million.
Really? So not a bad investment there. But we're not allowed to talk about in terms of investment. I've just decided as a new rule to the game. We're not speculating here. It's just our own opinions. Right. So driving the P1 because why wouldn't you? It's the most track focused. It's the best thing. It's got the Formula 1 KERS. It's actually got more power in the KERS system than a Formula 1 car had at the time when it came out. Plus it was £860,000, so
It is just mental, that thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not the most powerful, is it? It's approximately 900 horsepower.
Yeah.
As opposed to the LaFerrari, which is 950.
Yeah.
But I just find it's all-wheel drive as well.
No, it's rear-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant, rear-wheel drive. Yeah, I think that's going to be the best on track. Not 2.8 seconds, so it's going to be a hell of a thing to set off with. It's not as good looking as the 918, in my opinion.
It's not as good looking as the 918.
I think the 918 is better looking myself. But there you go. And
I'll come on to my opinion then afterwards.
To own, I think it would be too scary every day, and plus you feel like you're going to want to whack it all the time. So I would drive that, hoon it round a track, buy the 918. It's the cheapest of the three.
It is the cheapest of the three.
781.
I think boring of the three.
But I'd have the Visac pack on it as well, so that would take it up to 853,000.
What extras are we then?
Yeah, we're adding on extras as well. Same as the 060 rough, same as the P1. It's got rear wheel steering though, which I think is quite sexy.
Bit like a lorry then.
Well, it's the heaviest of the three.
So it's basically a lorry.
It's essentially a lorry. But I quite like the idea of rear wheel steering. I find that quite cool. And I think probably the best thing about it was when I saw pictures of it in martini colours. That was the thing that clinched it for me.
They are sexy, those.
Plus, I love the Carrera GT, and it sort of harks back to that.
That is a great car.
Great looking car.
I think that is possibly one of my favourite Porsches post 2000.
Absolutely.
Apart from the Targas.
What of back in the actually the modern Targas.
I like the modern Targas.
I love a modern Targa.
The only Porsches I really like, to be honest with you.
That's very true. But I love the martini colours in it, so I'd go with that. And the LaFerrari, I don't think it's as good looking as the Enzo.
You're wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, right. So apparently I'm wrong, but there we go. I think the Enzo is a slightly better looking car.
That's the same sort of era as the GT, isn't it?
But then you are blowing up a V12, which is a little bit sad.
Is all your choice?
That's my. I'm sticking to my guns there. I'm going with destroying the poor old LaFerrari there.
That's a reluctant thing to do. That is.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be a bit teary when I pulled the plunger when I went and blew it up. Yeah. So I'm sticking with my guns. Drive P1, buy 918, destroy LaFerrari.
Yeah.
Talk me through yours. What are you thinking?
Well, correctly, I've chosen same as you actually, is to drive the P1 because I would just love to thrash that round a track.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's crazy. It looks brilliant.
It's just an F1 car with some extra body panels really on it, isn't it?
It's completely what it is. I think it's amazing. It must be the ultimate track experience. 903 brake horsepower. It's faster than a Golf just in its electric mode.
That's very true, yeah. So you're going to destroy the Porsche. I know what you're going to do, aren't you?
Well, you're ruining it for the listeners.
Okay, right.
You're jumping too ahead.
I won't jump ahead.
So I drive the P1 just because of how mental
it is
on a track and how much I'd love to thrash it around and how brave you'd have to be just to actually put your foot all the way down.
Absolutely.
I would, like you said, I would destroy the Porsche, the 918. Not that I hate the Porsche. It's a brilliant car, but it's a bit boring, a bit conservative. I'm not a massive fan of Porsche, apart from, like you said, the GT Targas. And the Targas of present day and past day. I don't think it's actually that good looking. If I'm perfect, I like the exhaust on the back, but then other than that, I don't think it's that amazing. It's got a good four-wheel drive system, 770 brake horsepower, so the least powerful of the three.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
But that would be the one I destroyed because I just don't think
you're
it's
wrong, but that's fine.
Gorgeous as the LaFerrari, which I would buy because, about to go into this, it's the fastest, it's the lightest. Is it the lightest? I think it's is it lighter than the P1?
I would say no. I don't know.
I should probably have tossed it up in my facts.
You probably should have tossed it up in facts.
But
you've done all right.
I would. It has got the biggest engine. 950 horsepower, V12, 6 litre, 6.3 litre.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that whale of that V12, I could happily live that for the rest of my days.
Yep.
Listening to that soundtrack as I drove into the studio.
Fair enough. Okay.
So that would be the car that I buy, just also because I think it's the best looking.
So we're driving the P1, buying the LaFerrari, and destroying the Porsche.
Yes.
Its poor little face. And its lovely martini colours, you're going to see it go boom.
I wouldn't do all the things you did to it just so it made it a bit easier on me.
Fair enough. Okay, no, I can see that. I like that. I understand you.
I quite enjoyed that.
I can let it go. I enjoyed that as well. I think we should do another one.
Shall we? Have you got any more cars in
I've got
loads.
Should we go with classic British sports cars
What era?
Of the 1970s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's your contenders.
Mm-hmm.
The Triumph Stag.
Yeah.
The
great looking car.
Yeah, absolutely. Car. The Jaguar E-Type Series 2 version.
Yeah, because Series 1 was
the sunken headlights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking? Yep. You know what I'm talking about. And the Jensen Interceptor. Right. I
went
first.
I'm
going
to go first this time.
All yours.
That you go properly. Right. So first into it, Drive.
Yep.
Now it's a really difficult one for me. This one between two cars, but I think I would drive. Oh, I don't know. I think I would drive the Triumph Stag.
Right. Okay.
Because I'd love to go around the country roads, listen to that soundtrack.
It is a good sounding car. It is a nice sounding car.
Brilliant looking car. I would therefore destroy the Series 2 E-Type.
Oh,
just because I'd want the Series 1 because it's better looking, got a much prettier front end.
I think it's got a prettier front end than Series 1.
And so therefore I would buy the Jensen Interceptor because I want that block V8 in my life, and it was the quickest at the time of all its competitors, and it's stunning. It's still now. It's a timeless car.
Absolutely.
And it's one that lives not far from here, in a village not far from here. And every single time I drive past it, I think that is a very good car. And
I like the fact that they remade it and they put some modern underpinnings under it and a new engine and that sort of stuff. I do like the idea.
Because they introduced it in '66, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they kind of beefed it up a bit more in the '70s, didn't they? And it made it a bit more grunty and what you want.
Well,
that'd be mine. What would be yours?
We're not far off, actually. I'd be driving the Interceptor.
Not buying.
Driving the Interceptor because it's one of the most beautiful cars ever made, in my opinion. It's just
gorgeous.
Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I'd love to drive it just because I've never driven one before. But I wouldn't buy it because I love it so much. It's the sort of thing, never meet your heroes.
Do you reckon?
That sort of thing, yeah.
You wouldn't get bored of it, would you? You don't think if you had it every day, you'd be like...
I don't know, I'm not sure. But then I would be buying the Triumph Stag.
Right, okay.
Got one at the moment that's being rebuilt.
Over the Jensen?
Over the Jensen Interceptor.
And then over the
I think it's pretty. I think it's really pretty.
It is a brilliant looking car.
It's a brilliant looking. It's a lovely. It was my the car that is being redone at the moment was my great grandfather's last demonstrator.
Really?
Yeah, and it's in old English white, and it is lovely. And I love the T-bar on the roof.
That's what always comes to mind every single time I think of it.
Love the T-bar sort of. I think they call it a T-bar.
Well, it was meant to be a hit in America, wasn't it?
Yes, it wasn't though. Really,
wasn't quite.
It has a huge following though.
Has it got
Triumph Stag Owners Club.
Big Owners Club.
Huge following for it. So then I would be reluctantly, again, like the LaFerrari, reluctantly destroying the E-Type because,
you'd want Series 1.
Same thing as you, I preferred the Series 1 front end. I wasn't all that much of a fan of the sunken headlight thing. So yeah, I would be destroying the E-Type, which is really... I think Drive-By Destroy is too mean, but I think I quite like it.
I enjoyed that.
It's good. I enjoyed that very much.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
I like that. I think we'll keep that as a regular segment because that's fun. I think what else could you do for that? You do hot hatches,
pickup trucks, American muscle cars,
all sorts of stuff. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah. I think there's a great idea there. Different genres of cars, and you have to pick off that. City cars, electric city cars,
luxury
cars, all sorts of stuff. We'll definitely explore that further. I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it greatly.
Very good fun.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of then brings it to a close.
I think that's right. That was good fun, actually. I've really enjoyed that podcast.
That's the most fun I've ever had in your company in 11 years.
That's very kind of you.
That's quite very kind, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we've covered all sorts of things. We've roughly laid out how the podcast will sort of go, but we'll be expanding on that every time we do it. And obviously the more we do them, the slicker and more professional we will get.
Exactly. And the more opinionated we'll become.
Oh, absolutely.
If that is possible.
Absolutely. So make sure you give us a follow on Drive By Podcast. Drive _ by podcast. And me, Charlie _ drives on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Drop us an opinion, drop us a DM, whether you think it was good, any pointers, anything you'd like to see included in us, if you want to know more about us, anything like that. And I think that's about it from us today, really.
Yeah, sounds good.
So stick around for episode 2, which will be out shortly, I imagine.
Yeah, and keep safe during lockdown.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.